Alrighty, what is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Benny in the Booth podcast. I'm just gonna get everything set up and we'll be ready to go. Hope everyone's day is going well, week is going well, weekend's going well. I will dive into why this week's episode is coming out today, and as I start school next week, story with school next week, or with podcast, for the next while. There we go. Alright, just gotta get one last thing set up and we'll be ready to go. Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Benny in the Booth podcast. Thank you all so much for the support to this point. I very much do appreciate it. Crazy. We are up to episode 136. So this week's podcast is coming out not Tuesday, but today. For one, I was in Toronto last week for a wedding, and I also got to go to Rogers Center for the first time. I'm going to talk about that trip. That was a heck of a time. And so I didn't want to really do it on the road from a hotel. So I just waited to do it back when I came back to New York, which I came back in last night, and I came back way too late to even pre-record. So this is why I want to do it today and not earlier or later. As for next week, I'm going to be starting college again next week. So next week, I think I want to do the episode Monday, being I have Monday off, and then Tuesday I'm fully back into school with classes and stuff, but I haven't fully decided for sure yet. But at the moment, I would say probably assume the episode's going to be Monday, just because it's Labor Day where I'm off. If something changes, it changes, but at the moment, that's probably when will be the next episode of the podcast, which next week we'll also be able to start talking about NFL fully back because next week is football being back. But for now, won't be talking about it for now. So before I get into the actual episode, I was at Toronto Blue Jays for the first time. I finally made it to Rogers Center after years of making multiple trips to Toronto, whether it's just visiting family or it's for family events. Finally, have gotten to go to a Blue Jays game, and boy, oh boy, Rogers Center blew my expectations out the river. I was amazed, honestly, with what I saw there. They got one heck of a stadium there. I just was completely blown away, and I haven't been to Cleveland Guardians kid zone in years, so I don't know what their story is. But Blue Jays are the only MLB stadium that at least I know of that have an MLB The Show gaming console set up it's in their upper deck, which is awesome. I even played for a little bit, feeling like I was back at home. I didn't play for long because it's like a limit of how long you can play on it, but like that is awesome. They also have video games in general with Mario Kart and Nerf and stuff, but boy, they did a great job with that with their stadium. I mean, I have never seen it pre-renovation, but the renovation project, they did a phenomenal job. I was blown away, and I had a heck of a time. Now, the rough part was I got like the quote unquote like I got like a blowout compared to but I had a great time. But the craziest part was I got a blowout versus Thursday was nothing much. Friday, we'll dive more into it, but Friday was back rookies having back-to-back walk-offs, and then Saturday, Bowden Francis takes a no-hitter into the ninth inning, just be broken up on a leadoff homer. I was just like, this is literally the games I'm missing. I got a great game, and I am not complaining with the game I got, but it's just hilarious how that worked out. Kind of similar with Reds being I missed a no hitter by 2 days. But that's another story. But either way, I had a phenomenal time. The stadium blew me away. They definitely know what they're doing there. And honestly, after having been there, and now I only have one ballpark left in the division of the AL East being the Rays, though I ain't doing that anytime soon until their mess is figured out. I'm honestly ready to say Blue Jays is third best ballpark in the AL East. Yankees are the one behind them, and obviously I'm Tampa behind them at the moment. The only two I put above them is Camden Yards and Fenway. Part of me is in a way older style versus newer-ish, but also I just don't. As much as like I love what I saw in Toronto, I think Baltimore and Fenway are better. But I would definitely put Rogers in top 15 or 10 in general baseball. Like I was very impressed, and I definitely am going to be more than likely I will be going back at least once or twice in my life, and I can't wait to go back after having seen it. One heads up of advice I will give people: there are stairs outside of the ballpark by certain gates, and they're like a good amount of stairs. Not like egregiously bad, but just there's a good amount of stairs, especially surrounding the hotel part, as there's a hotel. I didn't try to go inside. I don't think I would have been able to if I tried, even being I had a ticket to the game. But I did walk by the gate area of where the hotel is. Um, so yeah. Also, I was like pretty much. I ended up walking into the outfield area, so I was below and above the hotel area. Anyways, the best part though, I sat like right around home plate area, and I was literally sitting right under the roof of the 200 level. So I was not in the sun. I was under the sun. I was right under. I was blocked off from the sun, which that helped very much so, and I made that experience more enjoyable. But I had a phenomenal time. I even got a picture with the big and main Blue Jays mascot. They have two. They also have a smaller one, but I got with the bigger one. And for context, this was outside. They basically, for certain home games during like spring, summer months. I also, by the way, got a picture outside of Scotiabank because I had to go to that area for their public transportation there, which was pretty confusing to figure out. Also, I got this picture when I was in Scotiabank area from with Rogers Center in the background. A little bit hard to tell because of blurriness of my computer camera, but back there's Rogers Center. But I forgot what I was about to say. Also, the funny part with the mascot thing, I hit my head on the roof as I was exiting out, and as a joke, the mascot like punched that spot. I was literally laughing when that happened. But yeah, they basically have by certain home games during spring summer, they'll have like music, kid stuff, and like a whole thing outside. I didn't go the entire time. It's like open, and even like an hour before the gates open. So meaning if you're going there from when that starts, you're there like 2-3 hours before the game starts, which is kind of crazy. I was not willing to do that. I went there for like a little bit after it started, and then went inside eventually once the gates opened. But I had a phenomenal time, pretty good kosher stand there, and I can't wait to go back at some point. The weird part I didn't know right away until someone told me inside the stadium there was a superhero convention happening at the same time right nearby the ballpark. There's like a expo center, and I didn't know that at the time. So when a random person in a Spider-Man costume just shows up to the gate I was waiting by, I'm just like, what in the world did I just walk into? And then eventually I found out that there was a superhero convention going on at the time, which that explained everything. I don't know if it's still going on or not, but that definitely explained it. But let's dive into this week's episode of the podcast notes wise. Let's actually start with college football. So to the utter surprise of college football fans, but probably a lot of America's thankful for, Georgia Tech actually upset Florida State 24-21. They were basically just running option attack a lot of the time, and they were able to pull off the upset over Florida State. When I say they, I mean Georgia Tech. And I think a lot of America's probably thankful, because if they would have had to deal with Florida State winning that game, and then no, they missed out on the college football playoffs this last year and still would have a shot this year. I mean, they still have a chance, being that there's 12 teams now and not 4 teams. But this loss is definitely going to hurt their chances of making the college football playoffs. Key matchups this week, though, really, I think probably will just revolve around going through the top 25 matchups. Obviously, it's AP until college football playoffs come out. So actually, starting tonight, number 24, NC State's hosting Western Carolina, 7 p.m. on ACC Network. Number 11, Mizzou's hosting Missouri State, 8 p.m. on SEC Network. Number 22, Kansas against Lindenwood, 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus. And number 12, Utah hosting Southern Utah, 9 p.m. on ESPN Plus. That is tonight. Tomorrow night, number 16, Oklahoma hosting Temple at 7 p.m. on ESPN. On Saturday, we've got a whole bunch of games, but the big game to highlight, number 1, Georgia against number 14, Clemson at the Falcon Stadium, 12 p.m. on ABC/ESPN Plus. That is definitely going to be an intriguing game. There are a few others, but that is definitely one to circle on the schedule. Number 8, Penn State visiting for West Virginia, 12 p.m. on Fox. Number 25, Iowa hosting Illinois State, 12 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. Chattanooga at number 15, Tennessee, 12:45 on SEC Network. Number 17, Oklahoma State hosting South Dakota State, 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Number 2, Ohio State hosting Akron, 3:30 on CBS. Number 4, Texas hosting Colorado, 3:30 on ESPN. Another big one in this weekend, number 19, Miami at Florida, 3:30 on ABC/ESPN Plus. That is definitely going to be an intriguing game this week. Western Kentucky at number 5, Alabama, 7 p.m. on ESPN. Number 6, Ole Miss hosting Furman, 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus/SEC Network Plus. Number 18, Kansas State hosting UT Martin, 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Number 3, Oregon hosting Idaho, 7:30 on Big Ten Network. Number 7, Notre Dame, and number 20, Texas A&M. That should be an intriguing matchup, 7:30 on ABC/ESPN Plus. Fresno State at number 9, Michigan, 7:30 on NBC. New Mexico at number 21, Arizona, 10:30 on ESPN. And that is it for Saturday. For Sunday, we've got number 13, LSU versus number 23, USC, 7:30 on ABC/ESPN Plus from Legion Stadium in Vegas. And then on Monday, Labor Day, you've got Boston College at Florida State. I, for some reason, don't have the time for that game written down. But yeah, though that's the match. That's top 25 schedule for this week, and we'll see if we get any upsets this week as we truly dive into college football now. With every team now officially having their first game this week, so probably will not have a lot of upsets and much to note, but we'll see what happens. Either way, let's dive into actual MLB notes. One thing I didn't include from Friday, so Blue Jays were down started the game down 4-0, started marching their way back down to 4-3 heading into the ninth, and Joey Loperfido and Addison Barger combined for back-to-back home runs to walk off the game. But besides for that, Cubs beat the Marlins 6-3. Pete Crow Armstrong's inside the park home run in the third went home to home in 14.8 seconds, which I don't usually know this, but this is definitely a crazy fact to note, which is the fastest such time on an inside the park home run since Byron Buxton's 13.85 seconds on his own inside the park home run on August 18th, 2017. Orioles beat the Astros 7-5. Anthony Santander go-ahead grand slam in the eighth is the first Orioles player to hit go-ahead grand slam with team trailing by 3 in the eighth inning or later since May 13th, 2010 versus the Seattle Mariners' Luke Scott. And Dodgers beat the Rays 7-3. This is a whole big note and a big note from this past week or so. With the steal of second and fourth, Ohtani has 40 stolen bases this season, making him fifth pitcher to have one season with at least 40 stolen bases and one season with 200 pitching strikeouts, joining Kid Gleason, John Ward, Dave Fouts, and Guy Hecker. The other four did so before 1893 and 1898, when the mound was moved to its current distance and before modern stolen base rule was adopted. With walk-off grand slam homer in the ninth, he now is in the 40-40 club, doing so in 126 games this season, which is the fewest games to do so out of 2006 Alfonso Soriano's 147, 1998 Jose Canseco's 151, 2023 Ronald Acuna Jr.'s 152, 1998 A-Rod's 135, and 1996 Barry Bonds 158. This is also his third career 40-20 season, which is tied for second most in MLB history behind A-Rod's 4 and tied with Barry Bonds and Jose Canseco. Also, his 86 career starts on the mound, whereas the other 40 members combined have one pitching appearance by Jose Canseco on May 29th, 1993, where he actually got a major injury. I forget what the injury was, but I remember seeing that he got hurt. Let me see if I can find out what it was. Jose Canseco pitching. Oh yeah, he had to get Tommy John surgery. That's what it was. I remember there was some injury. I just forget exactly what it was. But that is it from Friday. For Saturday, the Cubs beat the Marlins 14-2. Cubs is the first team in Major League history to have one Japanese-born player notch 3+ extra base hits, which is Seiya Suzuki, and another Japanese-born player earned the W in the game, which is Mike Imanaga. If you know the reference for Mike, you know, and if you don't, you can look it up. In the same game, Orioles beat the Astros 3-2 at 20 years old in 264 days. Jackson Holliday is the youngest Orioles/St. Louis Brown to drive in 3+ runs as a pinch hitter since RBI was official stat in 1920. Also, his youngest player driving 3+ runs as a pinch hitter since Jeff Burroughs on August 2nd, 1971. Also, third youngest player with 3+ RBIs as a pinch hitter in the last 90 seasons. Older than August 2nd, Burroughs, 20 years to 148 days, and May 19th, 1964, Dalton Jones, 20 years, 161 days. Guardians beat the Rangers 13-5. Jock Naylor solo home run in the 6th, and Bo Naylor solo home run in the 7th. Marks 13th time they both home run in the same game all time as teammates, and 6th to do it at least 3 times, joining Justin BJ/Melvin Upton Jr. or 6, Jeremy and Jason Giambi and Wilton and Vlad Sr. Guerrero. 4, Tommy and Henry, Aaron and Paul and Lloyd Wayner. 3, Edgar and Adrian Gonzalez, Billy and Cal Ripken Jr., and Billy and Tony Conigliaro. 2, Adam and Andy LaRoche, Jose and Benji Molina, Matty and Jesus Alou, and Matty and Felipe Alou. 1. Mets beat the Padres 7-1. Lindor's 2-homer game, 1 from each side of the plate. Marks 6th time he doing so in his career, matching former teammate Carlos Santana for third most among active players and moving within 1 of J-Ram, also former teammate of his, along with Anthony Santander, who has 7. It's his 19th career multi-homer game in general and is tied for 8th most among active players with 7 grand slams. First homer was a grand slam in the 4th inning. I sometimes have to reread my notes in my head to realize what I'm writing. He's one of 6 players in MLB to play in every game this season for their team and start all but one of them. I don't know if that's continued beyond Saturday or not. You know what? For the heck of it, I'll find out for you guys. I don't always do this, but I'm down to see for myself. Survey says he did start / play on Sunday. Monday they did not play. Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then their game today has not started yet. Here we go. Let's see. Yes. So yeah, streak does continue going into today's game, which has Not officially started yet. Starts at 3:40. And they're playing the Diamondbacks for context. So from Sunday, sorry about that. From Sunday, the Nationals beat the Braves 5-1. First Nationals regular season series W versus Braves since 2017, where they went 7-4 with 2 games in this year where they went 7-4 with 2 games in September left in DC left of the series. But even with those 2 games, still the Nationals definitely have won the series, so congrats to them. Now, Yankees beat the Rockies 10-3. Aaron Judge 2-run homer in the first is his 50th homer this season, which makes it his third 50 homer season of career, which is tied for second most in MLB history behind Babe Ruth and Mark McGwire's 4 and time with Sammy Sosa and A-Rod. Also, it's his 18th first inning homer in 2024, tied for most in the season with 2001 A-Rod with solo home run in the 7th. It's his 39th career multi-home run game, 5 more than any other player in his first 1,000 career games. And he hasn't played 1,000 games in his career yet. With Soto's solo home run in the 7th and Judge's have homer in same game, he and Soto and Judge have a homer in the same game 6 times, which is tied for most as a duo in Yankees history, tied with 2009 Johnny Damon and Mark Teixeira. With Stanton solo home run in the 7th as well, along with Soto and Judge, they went back to back to back. Judge and Stanton have homered in the same game for the 47th time, which is tied for the third most for the Yankees duo, tied with Babe Ruth and Bob Musel, and behind Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig 75, and Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra's 56. Also, this Mark Judge and Soto homer in the same game in the season for the 12th time, and Judge and Stanton 12 times this season, as well tied with 2022 Judge and Stanton, and behind 1961 Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle, 14, and 2022 Judge and Rizzo, and 2002 Alfonso Soriano and Jason Giambi, 13. Obviously, the Blue Jays beat the Angels, the game I was at, which I had talked about earlier. Guardians beat the Rangers 4-2. John Kensky, Noel's solo homer in the second is his 12th homer, which is tied for most in the player's first 41 career games in Cleveland history with Russell Branyan. Padres beat the Mets 3-2. Jackson Merrill's walk-off solo home run in the 9th is his 5th game-tying or go-ahead home run in the 9th inning or later this season, which is most in the season 21 years or younger, all-time passing 1929 MLB and 2 more than anyone else in MLB history. Also, is his 6th game-tying or go-ahead home run in the 8th inning or later in this season, which is tied for most in the season 21 years or older or younger, tied since 1900, tied with 1956 Frank Robinson. That is it for Sunday. From Monday, Cubs beat the Pirates 18-8. Cubs 8 stolen bases in the game is most in a game in Cubs history since June 9th of 1913. Cubs is the first team to have 21 hits and 8 stolen bases in a game since June 28th, 1912 for the New York Giants versus Boston's at the time now Atlanta Braves. The 21 hits and 18 runs is a season high for the Cubs, and first time doing so since August 1st, 2023, in a 20-9 win over the Reds, and third time since 2022 they had reached both in a game. And they didn't do so before 1996 through 2021. Blue Jays beat the Red Sox 4-1. Continuation of June 26th game that got postponed till Monday. Danny Jansen is the first player in MLB history to play for both teams in the same game. Original date of the game was before he was traded to the Red Sox. Yankees beat the Nationals 5-2. Judge single in the 9th is his 1,000th career hit, making him his 42nd Yankee to do so, and first since Brett Gardner in 2017. That is it for Monday. For Tuesday, Nationals beat the Yankees 4-2. Dylan Cruz single, second inning double off Garrett Cole makes him third national player since 2005 to collect first major league hit off Cy Young Award winner, joining Blake Treinen off Clayton Kershaw on May 6, 2014, and Beltran Perez off Tom Glavine on September 25th, 2006. Marlins beat the Rockies 9-8. Griffin Conine 2 extra bases and outfield assists in his first major league start, became 4th major leaguer since 1961 to do so in their first major league start, and first since Scott Brosius on August 7th, 1991. Griffin is the first hit was off Cal Quantrill, Jeff Conine and Paul Quantrill, dad of each, faced each other 19 plate appearances, 17 at-bats, in where Conine went 2 for 17 with 2 walks. With the outfield assist, Jeff Conine is the fourth Marlin to record one outfield assist in his first career start, joining Jesus Tavares, Mark Kotze, and Gerard Encarnacion. Conine and Kyle Stowers became the 10th and 11th major league Marlin, I think, or major leaguer. No, Marlin to tally a triple and outfield assist in same game this season. No, the major leaguer. With last Marlin to do so was Jesus Sanchez on August 25th last year. Marlins Mets beat the Diamondbacks 8-3 with solo home run in the second. Pete Alonso now has 220 homers in 816 days with the Mets, which is tied for third most in MLB Mets history, tied with Mike Piazza in 972 days, and behind it, Darryl Strawberry's 252 in 1,109 days. Games, not days. Sorry. And David Wright's 242 home runs in 1,585 games. And then as for yesterday, Cubs beat the Pirates 14-10. Christian Bencourt 7 RBI day makes him the sixth Cubs catcher since 1901 to knock in 7 or more RBIs in one game. Cubs came back from down 7+ runs, 10-3 to be exact, on April 11th, 2023 versus the Mariners. This marks the first time they had such a win in consecutive seasons since 1998 to 1999. Cubs' 41 runs scored in the series is the most in a 3-game series by any team this season and passes the A's from 39 from July this year. It is also the fourth most for Cubs since 1901, behind 2019 versus the Pirates, 1930 versus the Phillies, 44, and 1930 versus the Brooklyn/LA Dodgers, 43. And the Cubs' 73 runs in the last 7 games is the most in a 7-game span since June 27th to July 2nd, 1961. They just have 4 7-game spans with more runs since 1900, all overlapping spans in 1930. Astros beat the Phillies 10-0, where Spencer Arrighetti took a no-hitter into the 8th, but was broken up. Yordan Alvarez had a 3-homer game, which marks his 20th multi-homer game in 606 career games, which is second most in the player's first 610 career games, behind Ralph Kiner's 24 and behind Willie Mays' jumping Willie Mays, Aaron Judge, and Todd Helton's 19. I realized I had a typo there. Sorry. It's also his third 3-homer game, which is in 606 games, which is doing so. No. Which is the second most, tied for second most in MLB history of the first 610 games, career games, tied with Ralph Kiner and Johnny Mize, and behind Mookie Betts' 4. Spencer Arrighetti's 47 strikeouts and 19 hits allowed in August puts him alongside Kerry Wood as the only rookie since 1900 to do so, with Wood having 60 strikeouts and 19 hits allowed in May of 1998. Nationals beat the Yankees 5-2 with a leadoff home run for Dylan Cruz. In the first, he is the 8th National since Montreal Expo to have leadoff home run for first career homer, joining June 3rd, 2012, Steve Lombardozzi, August 24th, 1995, FB Santangelo, May 7th, 1990, Delino DeShields, October 3rd, 1985, Fred Manrique, June 30th, 1985, Mitch Webster, September 8th, 1975, Jerry White, and May 11th, 1971, Boots Day. Dodgers beat the Orioles 6-4. Shohei Ohtani's leadoff home run the first marks he has 10+ homers and 10+ stolen bases this month, making him 8th player to do so in a calendar month, joining September 2023, Ronald Acuna Jr., August 2004, Carlos Beltran, May 2001, Ryan Klesko, July 1999, Jeff Bagwell, September 1991, Howard Johnson, May 1987, Eric Davis, and September 1983, Dale Murphy. With stolen base in the 5th of third base, he now has 3 games this season with a homer and multiple stolen bases, the only player with more in a season since 1986, Ricky Henderson 5, and 1987, Eric Davis 4. Also, with Teoscar Hernandez homer in this game, it's the 10th time they both homer in the same game as teammates with the Dodgers in a season, which is tied for 4th most in Dodgers history, tied with 2018 Cody Bellinger and Max Muncy, 1999 Roll Mondesi, Eric Karros, and 1996 Mike Piazza and Eric Karros. And behind 1953 Duke Steiner, Gil Hodges, 14 2019 Bellinger, Muncy, and 1995 Steiner and Hodges 13, and 2019 Bellinger and Jock Peterson's 11. Hold on one moment. And then a general note, with Rhett Lauder getting called up to the MLB, the 2023 MLB draft now has 5 of the top 7 picks called up to the MLB now. Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, Wyatt Langford, uh, Jacob Wilson, and Brett Lauder now making the draft class the first time in the draft's history that a draft class does so quick within the same year or a year after the draft. And that's it for the notes part of this week's episode. Now we're going to dive into standings part, which I'm going to also start covering the wildcard standings, because now that's getting even more important. Though with the wildcard standings, I'm only going to be covering teams that are under 10 games back, and also only covering games back if they're under 10 for division standings also. But I will still go over division standings for teams that are 10 plus games back. Starting with the division standings in the AL East. Sorry about that. The Yankees in first place at 78-56, followed by the 77-57 Orioles, who are a game back, followed by the 69-64 Red Sox, who are 8.5 back, followed by the 66-67 Rays, who are over 10 games back, followed by the Blue Jays, who are 65-70 over 10 games back. In the AL Central, the Guardians first place at 76-58, followed by the 75-59 Royals, who are a game back, followed by the Twins, 72-61 Twins, who are 3.5 back, followed by the 68-66 Tigers, who are 8 games back, followed by the 31-103 White Sox, who are over 44 games back. Followed by in the AL West, Astros in first place, 71-62, followed by the 68-66 Mariners, who are 3.5 back, followed by the 62-71 Rangers, who are 9 games back, followed by the A's at 50-75, more than 10 games back, followed by the Angels at 54-79, more than 10 games back. In the NL East, the Phillies in first place at 78-55, followed by the 73-16 Braves at 5 games back, followed by the 69-64 Mets, 9 games back, followed by the 61-73 Nationals, more than 10 games back, followed by the Marlins at 48-85, more than 10 games back. In the NL Central, the Brewers in first place, 76-56, followed by the 68-66 Cubs, 9 games back, followed by the Cardinals, 66-67, more than 10 games back, followed by the Cardinals, Reds, 63-70, more than 10 games back, and followed by the 62-71 Pirates, more than 10 games back. And then in the NL West, the Dodgers in first place, 79-54, followed by the 76-57 Diamondbacks, who are 3 games back, followed by the 76-59 Padres, who are 4 games back, followed by the 67-67 Rockies, followed by Giants, followed by the 50-84 Rockies. And as for the wildcard standings, the Orioles are 4 games up as the top seed in the AL wildcard, followed by the Royals, who are the second seed, 2.5 up, followed by the Twins, who are the 3 seed, not any games up. Followed by the Red Sox, who are 3 games out, followed by the Tigers, who are 4.5 out, followed by the Mariners, who are also 4.5 out, followed by the Rays, who are 6 out, followed by the Blue Jays, who are 8 games out. And then the NL wild card, the Diamondbacks at the top spot, 3 games out, up, followed by the Padres, who are 2 games out, up, followed by the Braves, who are no games up. Mets are 4 games behind in 4th. Cubs are 5.5 back in 5th. For Giants in 6.5 back, and Cardinals are in 7 games back. And anyone else is above 10 games back already. As for the games that are currently going on, before we dive into the games that haven't started yet, Angels over the Tigers 3-0 through 5. White Sox and Rangers, scoreless through bottom of the second. 0-0 in Giants and Brewers bottom 1, and Padres and Cardinals 0-0 bottom 1. As for the games that have not started yet and will be later on today, at 3:10 we've got Marlins at Rockies, Valente Beloso against Bradley Blakelock, and Mets and Diamondbacks 3:40 David Peterson against Ryan Nelson, A's at Reds at 5:10 JT Ginn against Julian Aguilar. Braves at Phillies, 6:40 Charlie Morton against Christopher Sanchez. Blue Jays at Red Sox at 7:10 Boone Francis against Carter Crawford. Royals at Astros at 8:10 Brady Singer against Hunter Brown. And then Orioles at Dodgers 10:10 Cade Povich against Bobby Miller. Thank you so much for watching. If you're listening, if you're new on audio, follow the podcast, leave a review, hit notification bell to notify when I go live and or post on there. If you're new on YouTube, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell to notify when I go live and or and I'll post a new video. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you next week's episode 137. Bye bye.